Welcome to ThirdEye View, our monthly series where we unpack financial crime stories that matters the most for compliance professionals around Australia and New Zealand. I'm Jing, and joining me as always is Colin Dixon, our CAMS certified AML solution specialist. Colin, what do we have today?
We're going to talk about AUSTRAC's role as the AML CTF regulator in Australia. Although we're talking specifically about Australia, a lot of what we discuss is parallels with New Zealand and the DIA. The first line on the AUSTRAC website says this: "We're responsible for preventing, detecting and responding to criminal abuse of the financial system to protect the community from serious and organised crime." I think of them as having a split personality. There's the soft side that wants to help and encourage you to meet your obligations and to protect the community. And then there's the side that carries a big stick to make sure you're meeting those obligations. And we'll cover both of those today. I'm sure AUSTRAC would like everyone to follow their guidance to protect the community, so they never need to bring out the big stick.
Well, let's start with the soft side. If a business is following the guidance and doing everything right, they may never see the hard side or the other side of AUSTRAC, so which is a position where everybody is aiming to. So let's take a look at how AUSTRAC is helping businesses to comply with the law.
Well, that's the right place to start. How to succeed, not the consequences of failure. There's a huge amount of guidance on the AUSTRAC website at austrac.gov.au, and there's a homepage for the guidance. They've been doing a great job, particularly over the last year or two, to build out this guidance. There's also a handy section that lists all the new guidance as it's published to help you keep on top of the change.
Well, there's a lot of information to take in, so where do people actually start?
Well, there's a section called Learn How to Use This Guidance, which provides a suggestion of where to digest first. It also makes their language clear, and I think it's worth covering that. When they use the phrase, "you must," then you must do it. There are no ifs or buts. When they use the phrase, "we expect," it means that it's something that you most likely need to do, but you may have an alternative approach that's acceptable. But you need to justify your approach if they audit you. The phrases like "you may" or "you should" indicate something that's good practice. You may have other approaches or find that it's not necessary for your business. In all cases, you need to understand the implications for your business and how you'll approach the obligation. Ignoring the obligation is not an option.
Understood, Colin. So we recently added tranche 2 entities. There is specific guidance for them, isn't there?
Oh, that's right. They're termed starter kits. As it says in the name, these are your place to start if you're a tranche 2 entity.
Great. Well, in all cases, the message is to read the guidance, understand what it means to your business and how you will apply it to your program.
That's right. It's all there to help you. There's a lot to read and to understand how it applies to your business. If you can't do it yourselves, there are plenty of advisors who've taken the journey before, and they're there to help.
Fantastic. Well, if you put the guidance into practice, you may never encounter the other side of AUSTRAC. So I think we should move on to that, please, Colin.
Well, we've just seen the introduction of tranche 2 entities. The good news from AUSTRAC CEO Brendan Thomas is that 62,000 entities have enrolled, and some are already submitting SMRs. That's why they were brought into the regime, so that they can detect and report on suspicious matter, to help reduce crime. It's good to hear that that's happening already. However, the bad news is that the deadline for enrolment passed a few weeks ago, and there is still a large number of businesses that haven't enrolled. AUSTRAC's also made it clear that it's ready to take action against entities that haven't enrolled. Enrolment isn't hard. Tick that box and avoid enforcement action. The next step, implementing your program, is much harder, but don't let that daunting task block your enrolment.
So what about existing entities, Colin? We've seen plenty of actions from AUSTRAC against entities that haven't complied.
Well, there's a page in the guidance called Consequences of Not Complying, which should make sobering reading. There are also news items about entities that have failed. In the last month or so, AUSTRAC has suspended Cryptolink's registration, started an enforceable undertaking with Bet365, and finalised an enforceable undertaking with Sportsbet. An enforceable undertaking is a legally binding agreement to make improvements. If I can quote AUSTRAC's website, it says that Bet365 needs to overhaul its systems, including establishing a robust, ongoing risk assessment approach, underpinned by clear methodologies and processes, and strengthening how it detects and reports suspicious transactions as risks evolve. That sounds like a major program of work to me, with a huge cost and disruption to the business. In the Sportsbet case, which has just been finalised, the enforcement undertaking was in place for over 2 years. It's far more effective to put your own program in place on your own terms than to have AUSTRAC force your hand.
That's actually very, very true. You should read these items on AUSTRAC's site and work out how to never face the consequences. Colin, you've also talked about the AUSTRAC website. Where else do you go to keep yourself up to date?
Well, keeping up to date is critical. There's a lot of change and you need to be on top of that change and understand how it affects your program. Keeping up to date with what your regulator is saying is your top priority, which is why we've talked about AUSTRAC today. As well as their website, LinkedIn is a good place for updates. I follow AUSTRAC and their CEO, Brendan Thomas. They make lots of posts and it's an easy way to keep abreast of their news. I'm also a member of ACAMS. The Australian chapter is very active with regular webinars that are locally relevant. And their board members are also regular posters on LinkedIn too. Those are my main sources for Australia. But because we operate in New Zealand and the UK, I keep up to date with those countries, as well as international bodies like the FATF. Whilst they may not be directly relevant to Australia, there's more common ground than differences. So it all helps to keep up my level of knowledge.
Thank you, Colin. Well, that's it, everyone, for this month's edition of ThirdEye View. The message is that there's plenty of guidance available and plenty of advisors to help with your program and to help you use technologies to work more effectively and efficiently. You can either do the job properly or be prepared to face the consequences. You will find links to today's webinar along with the blog post that accompanies this episode. As always, we'll love to hear from you. Whether you have questions, thoughts, or feedback, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll be back next month with more updates and insights from the world of financial crime. See you then.